As of now, I have nearly 40,000 followers on Instagram. I started my account in May of 2019, and I didn't pay for one follower. And you don't want to pay for followers. When you pay for followers, people can tell you pay for followers. And if you're on Instagram to grow a business, you want to get ideal clients to follow you. Ideal customers, meaning you want ideal followers. There are two main ways to grow on Instagram. Number one, shareable content. Number two, hashtags. But people won't share your content if you don't have good content, and hashtags won't do anything for you if you don't have good content. I'm breaking this video down into sections, and the first section is going to be how to set up your account and aesthetically what it should look like so that you can attract those ideal clients. And then number two, we're going to talk about content, what kind of content you should be posting and where this certain type of content should be posted on your Instagram account. Then we're going to talk about how to get more eyeballs on your account in the first place outside of Instagram. These are all the strategies I use to grow my account organically. And we will be talking a lot about video because I'm Virginia Kerr and I help you convert followers into customers with video. Let's talk how to set up your account for success. We're going to start at the very top. Very top meaning the name of your account. You got to have your personal name in there because if people are searching you by your name, then they can find you more easily. Also, when you're in the DMs and all you have is a generic name or something that's related to your business or the name of your business, but your name is not there, then there's no name in that DM and people are going to connect with you and they buy from humans. So we got to have a name on there. So in your account handle, you want to have your name in there or the name of your business, but in the actual name section, you also need your name in there, at least your first name, and you need something else in there because that name section is also a searchable area. In mine, it says video coach. So now if you go in and you were to put in video coach, but not Virginia, I would still pop up because that section is searchable. If you have your name in your handle, you don't necessarily have to have your name in that name section, but you need to have your name in one of the two. Next, we need to see your face in your profile picture. A lot of people will put their dogs in there, their family in there, their logo, that's a common one. But if you are a business owner on Instagram, we want to see your face. And a nice face shot would be a head and shoulder shot with you smiling and your eyes looking at the camera lens. We want you to look approachable. We don't need your dog in there. We don't need your husband in there. We don't need your kids in there. We don't need an ultra wide shot of you because we can't see your face. You can't zoom in on your profile picture on Instagram. So a nice head and shoulder shot with a smile, looking at the camera. Money. Moving on down the account, let's look at your bio. You need to be asking yourself, if you were to land on your account, would you want to follow you, or does all the information in your bio have everything to do with you and nothing to do with your ideal person? Many people have what I like to call dating profiles. They have all this fun information about where they went to school and how many kids they have and what religion they are. And all of that stuff is great if you are describing yourself to a potential boyfriend or girlfriend. But as someone who is looking for something on Instagram to give them more time, more money, better health, better success, more success. You want to put information in the bio that's about your ideal client, your ideal customer, that screams, this account is for you. This is what you're going to get if you were to follow me. If you look at my bio, I tell you, you're going to get camera confidence. You're going to attract clients. You're going to get simple strategies so that you can use video. All of these things are for my ideal person because I know he or she wants to attract more clients, make more money, and feel more confident on camera. So that says to them, she's my girl. Moving on down, let's talk about your grid. You don't have to get overly complicated with this. You don't have to go out and hire a professional photographer to take your pictures. But what you do want to do is have a cohesive look. You want to make sure you do have appealing pictures, that you are using the same colors, and you're choosing maybe 2 fonts and you use them over and over. We want it to look like everybody everybody belongs, like it's part of a family. You have to keep in mind when somebody hits your account for the first time, they size you up in about 2 seconds and they're looking at your overall feed, what everything looks like. How does it make them feel? If it looks really busy and cluttered, they're gonna feel uncomfortable. But if it looks relaxing and it has colors and fonts and words and images that reflect your brand, that will bring in the right person for you, you are going to get them to stay a little bit longer. It's okay to test different fonts, different colors. If you look at my feed, you can see I went through several phases. I went through the oh so feminine and light and airy phase. Then I went to the oh let's all look like we're in concrete jail cells with all the gray that I had going on. Then I started to get lighter and brighter because that's my personality and that's my brand, and the fonts and the symbols. All of these things scream, I am into video. I am not going to take myself too seriously, but I'm going to tell you like it is when it comes to how you should be using video for your business. Ask yourself, what colors reflect your brand, your personality? How do you want people to feel when they hit your account? Ask someone you know to look at your account and tell you how they feel when they look at it. What message are they getting when they look at your images, your fonts, your content? That's a great place to start. One more thing about the setup, you want to make sure you have your analytics. If you have a business profile, you can see what pieces of content are working and what pieces of content are not working. I really focus on shares, saves, comments, and reach. I want to see which posts got pushed out to the most people because that tells me the algorithm really liked that content based on the engagement that I got. But I wouldn't be able to know all of that if I had not switched my account over to a business account. All you have to do is go into settings and switch it over to a business account. It does not mean you have to go start a brand new account. As a business owner, this information is crucial for growing your account. Now let's talk content. This is my favorite part. Going back to your bio and what you told your ideal person they were going to get if they were to follow you, now you've got to prove that you are going to give them what you promised. If you don't have the right content that you promised to give them, that's like inviting someone to your house for a party and then you don't have any food to serve them. You have to think of your content as all the munchy items, all the snackable bites that they can get so that they can get to know you better and like you and trust you and eventually become a customer. But before they do that, they're going to share your stuff because your snackable content is so delicious, they're going to want to go tell their other friends about it. That's why it's really important that you have a plan when it comes to content. And this all goes back to who your ideal person is and what your offer is. I have content categories. I know what my ideal person wants to see. I know what she wants to learn. I know what her problems are. I know that sometimes she doesn't know her problems and I have to educate her on those problems. And I also know that she needs to identify with me and relate to me as a human being. So one of the content categories you definitely should have is an inspiration category. That doesn't mean you're going to talk all about yourself all the time. That's one of the biggest mistakes people make. They post all of this look at me selfish content that's all about them, and the person who hits your account doesn't care about you. They want to know what you're going to do for them. So you've got to post learn from me content that serves your audience. Inspiration is going to be about you, but you are going to select stories that are going to help your ideal person relate to you and get inspired and motivated. You also want to make sure that you are creating valuable content that someone would want to stop their scroll and learn more about. So before you post that picture, before you post that video, you need to look and see, would you stop on that particular post and look at it? Is it going to draw you in? Does the first line pull you in because you want to learn more? Consistency is very key when it comes to growing your account, because if you invited people to this party and they show up and nobody's there to offer them any food or to welcome them when they get there, they're going to go away and they're not going to come back. You've got to be consistent with the amount of information you put on your feed. It doesn't mean you have to post every single day. If you can't keep up with that schedule, then don't do that. If you're going to post 3 times a week, post 3 times a week. If you're going to post 5 times a week and one of those is always going to be a reel, then do that every week. You've got to put it in your calendar when you're going to create this content and when you're going to post it, or you won't be consistent and you're going to get frustrated because people aren't showing up up and you're gonna feel like you did all the right things and maybe you did in the beginning, but then you got burned out and you weren't disciplined enough to stick to it and stay committed to it, and it's not gonna work for you. Let's talk about what I refer to as the TV shows of your Instagram account. I think of your Instagram account as your personal television station. It's your network, like a CNN, like an HGTV. And then all the different areas on Instagram are your TV shows. And you're the one who's responsible for putting the content or the programming on those particular shows. The TV shows that I'm talking about are your Instagram stories, your highlights, your feed, your reels, and your IGTV. Those are the different areas of Instagram where you can help people get to know, like, and trust you so that you can convert them into followers and then eventually into customers. And you have to have a good idea of what your content categories are that we talked about in order for you to know what to put in all these places. Because once you have those content categories figured out, you let those live in all of those different TV shows. It's just that all these different TV shows, again, that's stories, highlights, reels, IGTV, and your feed, all of those different shows have the same type of content, they just have a different style of format to them. And when someone hits your account, they're checking you out to see if they can binge on anything that makes them happy. They want to see if they can watch a bunch of content that helps them learn something, which also helps them learn about you. So if someone comes to your account and you don't have any highlights, or you weren't stories that day, or you don't have any video on your reels or video on your IGTV, it's going to be really hard for them to get a solid idea of who you are, and they're less likely to follow you. Once you get some eyeballs on your account and you attract them because you tell them, hey, this is what you're gonna get in my bio, and you obviously proved it on your feed, and your feed is attractive, then they're going to start poking around in the highlights and in the stories. But if you're not active in there, you could have lost a really good follower, an ideal follower, and we don't want that. We want to make sure you are putting the right kind of content on all these TV shows so that when someone hits your network, they want to binge watch the entire day, or really just long enough to follow you. Now that you have the right content categories and you know where all this content should live, you have to make sure that people see your content, other than the people who have randomly discovered you. You have to make sure the algorithm spits it out to more people. And the way to make that happen is by looking to see if you're getting saves, shares, and comments. DMs help as well. Likes, not so much. It's not about the likes, it's about the engagement. If you have engagement on a post, then the algorithm is more likely to send it out to the Explore page, or if it's a reel, send it out to the Reels page. But if you just hear crickets after you post, algorithm's not going to send it to people. So in order to make that happen, you have to make sure you're creating content for your ideal person, and you're even telling them, save this post for the next time you make a video, or share this with someone who would find this to be helpful. You want to tell people to save and share, and also ask them a question. Tell them to comment with an answer below so that you can start the conversation. You also want to make sure you're replying to those comments and you're doing it in a timely manner. And even before you post that post, you want to make sure you're warming the algorithm up. Before I go on to post, I will go in and I'll start engaging with some of my followers. I'll make sure I liked and commented on the replies that were on my previous post before I go to post that new post. I also look at my insights to see when my followers are most likely to be on Instagram, and that beginning of that peak time for me is going to be when I want to post, because I want to take advantage of all that time during that peak hour so that I am setting my post up for success. You also want to post hashtags. You can either put them in the caption or you can put them in the comments, but you got to do it lickety split. I would even suggest that you would go and create the hashtags maybe in a notes app so that they are ready to fire, and all you have to do once that caption is finished is go and copy and paste those hashtags on your post immediately. It's gotta happen fast. And you don't wanna use hashtags that are too big. I try not to ever go over 500,000 when I look at the hashtags and how many are using it. I want it to be lower than 500,000, and I try to keep a group of them in the 10,000-ish range, and then another in about the 20 to 60,000 range, and then up to about 500,000. I don't go into the millions because the chances of my post getting posted in that hashtag and being seen, pretty slim if I'm in the millions. When I was growing my account, it was slow as snails in the beginning. I was figuring out who my ideal person was. I was figuring out what my look was. I was figuring out what kind of content was working and what wasn't working. I was also figuring out my voice, figuring out my confidence and my style so that I really owned who I was and my personality. It's really key. When you are watching other people too much or comparing yourself too much, you will stunt your growth and you will shut down your own creativity. Once I was able to just put my blinders on and go all in on me, my style of videos, that's when my account really started to take off. Here's what happened. I was on TikTok with a couple of accounts, really figuring out what kind of videos work for that algorithm. When Reels hit on Instagram, I pounced on it and I was posting a reel every single day. And the algorithm was spitting it out to more people because I was getting engagement right out of the gate with those reels. People were sharing them in their stories. They were tagging friends in the comments, and the algorithm could see in the first hour or so that there's engagement here. The nice thing about Reels is that those Reels can wake up later. Unlike the other posts that really they're gonna die in the first hour if they don't get engagement, your Reels can wake up later. If you have someone who's binging on your Reels and they find one and they comment and they share it, and now other people are watching it and they like it and they share it, that old tired Reel, the one that you thought was tired, could all of a sudden wake up and get you more exposure. I really doubled down not only on the content that was getting the most engagement and getting the most reach, I doubled down on Reels and IGTV because the algorithm loves video, especially Reels. In fact, this is something that you should really take note. You want to make sure on any platform, but we're talking Instagram, that you take advantage of any new features that the Instagram app is offering, because that makes the algorithm really happy. Reels makes the algorithm really happy. IGTV makes the algorithm really happy. But not only that, if you've got someone who's on your account and liking your stuff, and then they go to your IGTV channel, now they have longer video to watch. And the longer someone watches you, the more they like and know and trust you, the more likely they are to follow you, the more likely they are to become a customer. Reels and IGTV, really hot TV shows on that TV station of yours. So is Stories. Stories is where your diehards go. That's where your VIP hot leads will go and engage with you. And the more that people engage in your stories, another way for you to trigger the algorithm to send out your content to more people. The people who engage in your stories, who answer your polls, who reply to your stories, they are some of the people who will see your content first when it goes out because they engage. That's why it's really important in stories to start a two-way conversation. Don't just talk at people, ask them questions. Tell them to DM you with questions. Use polls so that they can have an opportunity to engage with you there. That's also a great way for you to get an idea of what kind of content they really like. The stuff that gets a lot of engagement in stories, that's a big clue that you should take that same type of content and make more of it. Or use the questions they ask you in those stickers and stories to create new content for them. Oh, and you can use the location sticker and hashtags in your stories to get more eyeballs on your account. In fact, hashtags in your stories, that's one place where you can use the hashtags that are up in the millions because so few people use hashtags in their stories. I would say Reels and collaborations and using other platforms were the three biggest ways I got more eyeballs on my account, which at the end of the day grew my account. Collaborations simply means you do a story takeover of somebody else and they do a story takeover of yours. They go into your story to educate your audience on something and you do the same in their stories, and that opens you up to a whole new network of people. You could also go live with people. That also gets you exposure to their network. You also want to take advantage of your other audiences that you have on other platforms. I make sure on my TikTok bio it says, for more video tips, follow me on Instagram. On Facebook, I'm telling that audience, I got more of this stuff on Instagram. On YouTube, hi, you can find more of this information on Instagram at This is Virginia Kerr. I'm telling everybody on these platforms, hey, I've got a lot more of this on Instagram. And it's why I think Instagram is one of the best platforms out there, because there are so many different areas on the app that allow people to get to know you and your content. All those TV stations are creating fans. Of course, you can have good content, but it could be put together in a boring way. And that's why you need to watch this video to see how you can change up just a few of your camera shots to make your videos uber interesting.